Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Planetary Persuader. I am Cosmic Kev, your host, and I'm glad you're still here with us. And this is for the week, beginning with the weekend starting Friday, the 26th of August, 2016. So, what's happened? Well, you know, last week I talked about how everything's coming up Virgo, and that certainly is true. Now, last week we had a full moon partial eclipse in the Vedic nakshatra of Dhanista, which is sub-ruled by Mars, but also in the sign of Aquarius, Saturn ruled. We have a Mars-Saturn conjunction that just took place a couple days ago. Okay? We're still under that influence. These are the two malefics. These are the two difficult planets to deal with. And yet, in a lot of ways, these two planets give you the most rewards when you deal with them properly. Saturn brings about a sense of justice and longevity and wisdom that's not easily eroded. And with Mars, it gives you physical strength, it gives you courage, a sense of adventure, a sense of passion, but also a sense of self-control. And so these are things that we're trying to work with during this period. Now in Vedic astrology, of course, Sun's still in Leo. But in Western astrology, we consider this to be Virgo time. And so Virgo's a servant. Sometimes it's the handmaiden. Sometimes she has a bird on her shoulder. Other times she's holding a shaft of grain. But this is another Mercury ruled sign, earth energy, dealing with how we can be more practical, how we can be a better service to our friends and each other. So that's part of it. Now looking at where the planets are, another thing that's happening this week is that we're going to see Mercury go retrograde. Yeah. So Mercury is going to go retrograde on the 30th, which is Tuesday at 6:04 a.m. So when you wake up Tuesday morning, things seem a little bit haywire. I mean, the way I look at it, we're already in the shadow of Mercury retrograde, so I'm like, don't make any hefty decisions, people. You know, don't make anything major. Just keep it all on the down low. Venus is going to go into Libra this week in Western astrology, so that'll add a certain sense of nicety. And Venus also ends up conjoining Jupiter this weekend. On Saturday, there's a sweetness in the air. There's a sense of pleasure, even though we're going through hardship. And by next Wednesday, Thursday, yes, we have a new moon and a solar eclipse at 2:03 a.m. And 9 degrees Virgo, that is definitely in the nakshatra of Purva Falguni. So Purva Falguni brings a lot of like entertainment vibe, and it brings sexual pleasure, and it's going to bring a light on things. You know, we always have to expect in those kind of Leo nakshatras where, you know, there's a new moon, which in Vedic astrology is a new moon, that there's going to be exposure. And if we want to look at Western astrology, we can say this Virgo new moon solar eclipse is like, we're going to take some critical analysis about this stuff. And we're going to look at the deep foundations of what's going on here and do some investigation. So there's going to be some investigation. And there's going to be some information that comes out that's going to be critical towards the survival of function, both socially and of the planet ecologically. So that's really what we've got in store. So we're going to go just sign by sign right now and go with it on the Planetary Persuader. So, greetings Aries, and welcome to your horoscope. Okay, so Virgo is the servant, and this is where you have service. This is also a place where sometimes things like work, having to do service work, working with other people as a team, and it's not always a really comfortable environment. 6th house is a rougher house to deal with, because it's like you take 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. You're still making progress, and it's a good place for making gains. Now here's the thing, you got this new moon eclipse happening in that house. If you haven't been watching your health, you know, if you've been just like sitting at home, eating cake and ice cream, potato chips, you know, all the stuff you know you shouldn't be doing, it could just shock you and put you in a place where you're unwell. And with the eclipse, things get emphasized. So it's like, take care of yourself this week, you know? There's a lot that could easily stress you out. Give yourself enough rest. Exercise a little bit, especially yoga, breathing exercises, dancing. Things make you happy. It could be a happy thing. You could do a happy dance for exercise. It doesn't have to be a drag. And you look better. You know, you do some pull-ups and push-ups. You start looking a little better. It's good for your body. And, you know, you have enough to make it. And I think from all this work that you're going to be doing, because it's like a heavy work week, and Mars in the 9th, you know, with Saturn, it's like, how bad do you want this trip? How bad are you willing, how much are you willing to give up to seek spiritual enlightenment? I think a good illustration of that would be the movie about the Buddhist saint Marappa. Oh my gosh, yeah. You Aries, that's your homework. Go watch that movie, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. If you want spiritual work, there's going to be some work. Alright, Taurus, welcome to your horoscope. So, I mean, when you're obsessed with expansion, with having a good time, if you have children, your life will be concerned with them. You know, this is where the eclipse is anyhow. So if you have kids, watch them. Their life is the one that's going to be affected most likely under this eclipse that we're coming into. Now, I mean, as we start the weekend, moon's in Gemini, so you might be making a little money, but by tonight, moon goes into the sign of Cancer. So it's kind of good social time, good time to hang out with siblings this weekend. Also good time to plant seeds for a fall garden. You know, especially if they're root crops. Because you're in that waning moon period, and that's a really good period for root crops. So, it's my little garden report. But otherwise, it's like there's a lot of creative energy, there's a lot of generosity, there's a lot of love. I mean, I think good things can happen to Taurus in this eclipse. I'd say, like, you're sitting better for it. But here's the hard part. You know, you got the Saturn-Mars thing happening in the 8th house. Yeah, I know. And it involves other people's property, it involves debt in some ways, and having the mojo to function without losing your cool. Being as patient as Saturn, but as energetic as Mars. Instead of being as angry as Mars and as lethargic as Saturn. You see, that's, you know, you see the balance here, where we're going up and down with this. So I think you can do this, though. You know what? Ask for help if you need it. That's one of the keys with the 8th house transit. And the thing is that you're mostly like, it's all about love, opening up your heart this week. I think it's going to be good. You know, might get yourself something, a new outfit, look nice at work with. Greetings, Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope. Okay, another Mercury ruled sign. Well, you know, Mercury on Mercury. So we've got this whole Mercury retrograde thing happening this week. Mercury retrograde in Virgo. Doesn't go direct till it gets to 14 degrees. Okay. Man. I really think taking care of things at home. Best thing you could do this weekend would probably be like clean house. Make things as nice as you can for your family and organized, because it'd be really easy to lose paperwork and get all disheveled in the home environment. Do not buy a car or a vehicle in the next 3 weeks, unless that's just your regular job is doing that, because it could go Same thing with housing, any kind of property, don't do it. Okay? Wait till, you know, after the 22nd when Mercury goes direct of September. The eclipse. Eclipse is going to affect your mother, your household, your own sense of happiness and tribe and where you belong. So there's some really core things. There might be a surprise about the history of your family. You didn't even know about it. Oh my God, my mother was conceived in a da-da-da-da, you know, and, yeah, well, you know. You know, hey, at least, you know, she was conceived, you're here, let's be happy. You didn't want to hear that, did you? Okay, well, then you've got Mars and Saturn in the 7th house. You know, this is like a honeymoon where everything goes wrong. There's arguments, there's depression, there's obstacles. And maybe, if there's patience and endurance, you can make it through this time. But that is what it's going to take, folks. Hello, Cancer, and welcome to your horoscope. So, you know, we're starting out the weekend. Friday night, moon goes into your sign, so there's this feeling of sense of adventure, and you're kind of like flavor of the month. Virgo time's like neighborhood friendly, brother and sister friendly, writing friendly, using your hands friendly, writing songs, telling stories friendly, getting an education, learning things, local trips, little short trips friendly. All that kind of friendliness of the 3rd house. And 3rd house, you know, it's a place where we make improvements. Now this is where the eclipse is, okay? So, I mean, I don't know, it's like love the one you're with. Learn to love your neighborhood. Learn to be loving to everybody. The squirrels, the local neighborhood cats, you know, the fat lady with a really bad disposition next door that really depresses you, that young man that you think is a creep that's staring at your window. I mean, it's like love, love, love. Dispel, dispel, dispel. You know, perfect love casts out all fear, and that's really the mantra this week. I'd also say, you know, during the new moon eclipse, Thursday, write some poetry, you know. Keep abreast to the information. You're digesting a lot of information here. This whole Mercury retrograde thing. In your 3rd house, listen twice, speak once. That is what Ganesh would want. To remove those obstacles, you know, you gotta... Alright. Greetings, Leo. Welcome to your horoscope. So, you know, last week, you know, was the end of your, you know, end of story. And right now we're dealing with 2nd house stuff, which is like a lot of times family. It's also money and finances. I mean, there could be a windfall. You could have more money come in. In fact, the fact that Purva Falguni is a Venus-ruled nakshatra, I see a little bit of luxury, you know, oriented towards this. And so, you know, we got Venus moving into your 3rd house this week. You'll say just the right thing. You know, you're going to say the right thing at the right time. You'll impress the right people. Mars Saturn in the 5th house. Deal with your kids' limitations. Don't let them run all over you. It's devotion, you know. It is devotion. We try to keep it together for our families. Really, I mean, I think the biggest thing for you is just hang in there and don't expect to be in control, because Neptune's on the other side of this baby, as well as the South Node, and anything can happen. Well, hello Virgo, and welcome to your horoscope. So, you know, happy birthday if you're having a birthday this week. In fact, today's Elvis Costello's birthday this week. Elvis Costello's 62 today. I mean, can you believe that? Prince of Punks is 62. Happy birthday, Elvis. Okay, so as Virgos, you know, key phrases I analyze. We're really looking at things. Looking at stuff in a deep way. That's what this season is about. We're concerned about ecology. We're concerned about purity. You know, that's what the deal with the Virgin is. The untouched. And my whole theory on Virgo is it's the wilderness. And if you want to find the order that brings peace of mind, you've got to spend time in the wilderness. For those of you who live in Europe or in western part, you know, Far Eastern Asia or India, where there's a lot of dense population, it's not quite as easy to get to the wilderness, maybe, as it is in the New World. Oh man, but you got to do it. You got to, even if it's just a natural creek or river or something you can sit by, because this is going to renew your soul. And this eclipse is about sending a new direction in your life. And I think it's a direction towards where there's more entertainment, there's more creative expression, there's more lovemaking. You know, it's never too late to be loving. And when we're aroused by Eros or our sexuality, we actually, in some ways, we can function better. I mean, in some ways we can be blind to certain things, but we can actually, it's an antidepressant. Our endorphins are working. We're getting so much stimulation from the other person. We're feeling possibilities. I mean, this could be a good thing. So, alright, so the Mars-Saturn thing, you know, that's in your foundational house. That's your mom, your dad, your happiness, your tribe around you. So, if you're like thinking you're Virgo rising, and you're saying, man, everybody around me is going through some serious problems. I'm like, yeah, it's true. And then there's like the other deal. Mercury retrograde in Virgo. Oh. So, what I would say is just, once again, like I said, Gemini, you know, listen twice. Speak once. And, you know, don't take on anything new. Just work on what's in front of you. These two eclipses that we have coming are doozies. But I think this one here is the ground zero. This new moon solar eclipse is our ground zero. So, renew. Learn to love. And the other thing is I see economically things are going to improve for you. Venus is moving into your second house. I see some money coming. It's a little good Lakshmi vibe, and you know, something sweet to talk about. Well, hello Libra. Welcome to your horoscope. Well, I got kind of good news for you. That is, Venus is going into your first house on Monday evening, just a little bit before sunset. So that's cool. You know, we get Venus in Libra, and so that's going to motivate you to do some really good interior decorating, and some of you will be actively flirtatious, and plus you also have the Venus, you know, Jupiter conjunction even in the 12th house earlier this week. I mean, there's this feeling like your love is about to expand, and this is a little preview. Now here's a little warning for all my Libra friends, is that Virgo time is your 12th house transit. And we got a lot of planets, including Mercury retrograde in the 12th house. So, is it an oasis or a mirage? Don't even test it, okay? It's probably not either. So, the problem with the 12th house transit, it's really easy for us to be part of our own undoing. But the good part about this is Jupiter's still there. So the spiritual energy of Jupiter can really help you. You know, when you take a thing of like, hey, I want to be working on all my burners, and I want to help humanity as much as I want to help myself. So good things are about to happen, you know. But pray for others. This is a better time to lay low. I think the whole Mercury retrograde period will be a good time to lay low, because when it goes direct, Sun goes into your, your first house the next day. Plus Jupiter will be there. There'll be lots of la-las for Libra coming up this year. So, no, he said lots of la-las for Libra. Yeah. All right, hello Scorpio. Welcome to your horoscope. Virgo time is a pretty cool time for Scorpio. Actually, it's like this is when you find out who your real friends are. This is when you can cultivate really positive alliances for yourself. And Virgo is very discriminating, and Scorpio appreciates that, because both Virgo and Scorpio are really deep signs. Both of them are the kind of people that often would rather be alone than hang out with a bunch of dimwits. I mean, I got some Virgo and Scorpio festival going friends. Give me a break. There's exceptions to every rule, and first of all, our sun sign, I say it registers lower in general than the rising or moon. And this is old school astrology talking. So if you don't know your rising sign, you don't know astrology. I know, I said it. You can learn stuff, but you'll never know unless you were the 1 out of 12 was the same rising sign as your sun. So that's possible. So, like on the Mars-Saturn front, it's affecting you economically. It's like you got to be committed to your product. You got to be committed to your business. You got to be committed to your family. And you got to realize that there's going to be a lot of false starts. There's a lot of gossip in the 11th house. I mean, there's a lot of gossip in the 3rd house. But there's a lot of things socially flying around that may not be true. So we have to be able to believe that. At the same time, there's a vibe that the wool's been pulled over our heads. And Scorpios are really one of the more intuitive, perceptive signs, and they just sense stuff. They're like, there's something wrong about this. This just doesn't feel quite right. Ooh. You know some Scorpios like that. It's like when they start feeling like that, you better listen to them, because they probably, if they're not just crazy, they've got something. And so look at your social life, look at social opportunities, and even older people that can help you, older siblings with this new moon. Scorpio, I see you making social gains, and I see some good fortune coming to you and blessing you. So be sensitive to that, be grateful, help others socially. That if you make that part of the new moon eclipse on Thursday, you're definitely going far. Okay, Sagittarius, it's up to you, big boy or big girl. Well, what if I'm a little petite Sag? Yeah, I've seen a few of those. They usually have a big mouth or a big something, big eyes. There's always something big nose. Mars, you're totally comfortable with Martian energy. I mean, you love sports, you love adventure, travel, movement, bam. Mars, okay. So that's not really a problem. Saturn, oh my goodness, Saturn, Sagittarius. It's like, you mean I have to act like an old person? Yes. Do I have to be wise? Yes. Do I have to live by the rules and limits? Yeah. So, your sign is all about broadening our horizons, and you're being asked to discipline yourself right now. That's the main two things. And you're being asked to deal with planets that can either kick your ass or depress you. And so that right there is pretty difficult. But on the same token, it's like your career life and people needing your services has never been better. You are full on going for it, and it's a good thing. People are happy. And so go with the happiness. You're going to get a little social relief later on this week. The new moon, the eclipse, it's in your career house. So this might mark end of an old job, beginning of a new job. Promotion at work, those kind of things. More recognition publicly for what you do. Yeah, all that. Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to your horoscope. Okay, so the Capricorn thing. Well, Saturn and Mars, 12th house. When we can be honest about the ugliest part of our karma, it makes it easier for other people to be honest about the ugly part of their karma. And, you know, going to an NA or an AA meeting is not the worst thing in the world, you know, or whatever, you know, spendaholics, whatever your deal is, okay? Because, like, when we get help from each other, we're able to elevate ourselves. And the thing is that you won't live by the rules. You think, like all this stuff is secret, people don't know this about you? Ha ha. They see it. I'm sorry. I know, I seem so mean and scary to people, too. But it makes no sense. It makes no sense to me, except for my chart. Well, anyhow, there's a lot of good fortune. In spite of this element of neglect and this element of deception and being part of your own undoing, there's all this help for you. There's all this like Jupiterian energy of 9th and 12th house too, and these transits. So I'm like thinking to myself, my gosh, Capricorn, take a risk. Do something good. Help others. You know, you want to clear up that Saturn-Mars stuff? You know, I'll tell you what you do. You help old people, Saturn. You help athletes, Mars. Seriously. Even if it's like, you know, you put them both together, you know, you do something like the, you know, the Olympics for disabled people or something. You know, that is kind of what's happening. And you know, we look at our politics, so much in the world is just so disabled. You know, it's just... Be a transformer with this Pluto in the first house. Enable good things. Okay. Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope. You've been waiting for me. You've been waiting for this. So, I mean, this whole new moon eclipse for you, it can be a butt kicker. It can really get you in touch with death. It can get you in touch with breathtaking sex. It could get you in touch with birth that changes your life. An inheritance coming to you, things that are out of your control. A loan that gets given to you, a loan that you give to somebody else. I would say right now is be open to modest investments, but don't go crazy. You know, it's Mercury retrograde. We've got this whole... I would say in your social circle right now, be very suspicious. You know. Because I don't think Mars and Saturn... I mean, the Saturn part's working great. You know, the older people want to help you. But the Mars part coming in... There's a little bit of speculation going on that may not work out. So it's like... Wait until Mercury goes direct before... Giving money, loaning money, spending money, you know, just... hang on to what you got, because there's just a lot of unpredictability with this. Other people may need your help. You may need other people's help, and that's good, because you're a good person with people. I think that's going to happen. But I'd say this is a time to just move it slow. Some ego-crushing things happen. Don't worry about it. You know, get up again. Ride the horse. Hello, Pisces. It is your turn. You know, I was thinking about this, talking to one of my Pisces rising friends, and I said, you know, you're in a great position right now to assume leadership. You're in a great position to show the public what kind of order and structure we need while eroding the hard edges and the lack of compassion and the lack of legitimate healing and opportunities for it that there are in our society. You know, it's just like recently hearing about how like all the Roundup in the last 20 years in the food supplies is related to like celiacs and leaky gut syndrome and hormonal disruption among people and animals and plants. And it's like, wow, you think? You know, one reason, I've talked to one of my other astrology friends, Alexandra Karakostas, and we were talking. And I was thinking before we even talked, I said, you know, why we do this astrology thing is because we want to align ourselves with nature. And that's what you want to do, is align yourself with nature. She thought that, I thought that. We're going to do this again next week, the next episode of the Planetary Persuader, with me, Cosmic Kev.